Welcome to Fanboy Critic, where we go watch new movies on theaters and give you our review, both the good and the bad. I'm Joe Mortiz, and I'll be your fanboy.
And I'm Sam McClure, I'll be your critic. This week on Fanboy and Critic, we went to go see Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is a sequel to the original Ant-Man. And if you don't know, that is a Marvel superhero who can grow and shrink in size. And the Wasp is his sidekick. And it is directed by Peyton Reed, starring Michael Douglas,
Paul Rudd,
Evangeline Lilly, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Lawrence Fishburne. Okay, Jay, so Peyton Reed, what do you think he did well with Ant-Man? Considering the original is probably everyone's least favorite Marvel movie, what do you think he did well in this sequel?
I think he did well. I mean, bringing back the characters and bringing back Ant-Man to life. I mean, we haven't seen much of Ant-Man since the Civil War, and it pretty much picked off where it left off. And I think he did a really good job of introducing new characters and new villains. And that's probably the best part of the movie for me.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the best thing they did was have an actually decent villain. Most Marvel movies, that's their major downfall. I can't remember half the villains of the Marvel Universe because they really just don't matter. The villain actually had a solid motivation, and I thought they did a good job with that. It's hard to make Ant-Man seem cool. All he can do is shrink and grow, and he talks to ants. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, this is still on the lower end of my Marvel spectrum. Michael Pena's delightful, but, there's only so many times you can do that same bit where he's like, and then I was like this, but they're using a flashback and it's all in his, his way of speaking. There's only so many times you can do that and make it funny. Yeah, I just think the major downfall is Peyton Reed is not creative with any of his action scenes, or even at the regular talking scenes. They're not creatively done. He doesn't have an original spark when he goes to direct. He's just I've seen things like this before, so I'm gonna kind of copy and just do it. Yeah, do very boilerplate action scenes, even with someone with amazing powers. Ant-Man's powers are kind of lame, but you can still do some interesting stuff if you have an original creative way of approaching it, and I just don't think he does. He just doesn't have that. He's a rom-com director that's directing an action movie. So try and convince the critics like me why they should give Ant-Man another shot, because the first one kind of did us dirty.
Critics, go check out this movie because it is the second Ant-Man, and there's a lot more new characters and a lot more action, I guess you could say, compared to the first one. But I mean, you get to see the Wasp, you get to see new villains, and that's probably the most exciting part about this movie. And that's what I enjoyed, and I'm sure you will too.
Yeah, the Wasp was pretty badass, and so was Ghost, the villain. But for the most part, Fanboys, it's the same formula as most of the Marvel movies, but it just doesn't, it's not even with the charisma of Chris Hemsworth or Robert Downey Jr. Paul Rudd, he's good, but he doesn't carry a movie. And I don't think that you have to see this in theaters. You can see this at some other time. It doesn't even affect the MCU timeline at all.
Oh yeah.
So you really don't need to see this, fanboys. It's just not that great. I guess it's off to the ratings, sir.
Off to the ratings.
What do you think about this one? From our scale from love to hatred. No, love. It's not even hatred. It's just anger. Love to anger.
Okay. I'm amazed.
Okay.
I really enjoyed this movie, and the only real reason I'm really amazed was, like you said, the first one wasn't all that, but they happened to follow up with a better movie. The characters was really good. The CGI was amazing. I mean, from going large to small, and
I think the CGI.
I think he did really good with that. But like I said, I think this was definitely better than the last Ant-Man, and I'm gonna go with amazed.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people would agree that the first Ant-Man was the worst of the Marvel movies, if you don't count Incredible Hulk and before previous times. I'm gonna just go with a like.
All right.
It was good enough. I'm kind of sick of mediocre movies, but this was good enough. All right, fanboys and critics, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. It helps us out a lot. If you become a subscriber of ours, make sure to click the little bell and you'll get all of our notifications to see our reviews and other videos that we do.
We'll see you for our next review. You almost convinced me.
I'm convincing. I feel like I always convince them, Jay. What do you mean? I always convince the fanboys every week.